Good morning. Good morning. What is up, everybody? JT here with another Xtrades FOMO live stream. Hope you all are doing well this morning. It is Tuesday, April the 1st. Hopefully, we can avoid getting April fooled by any of the moves that are going on what are we calling this now? Liberation Day, which is I guess tomorrow, according to what I've learned over the weekend. Was a new term for me that I kind of caught in passing, so decided to look it up a little bit. I guess it's basically a large tariff announcement. It sounds like it's going to be an announcement of maybe additional tariffs that we don't even know about or aren't currently aware of at this point, which to me is kind of ironic that it's being named Liberation Day, unless that is, of course, because we are planning on liberating money from the markets. I think maybe Liquidation Day might be a better name for it versus Liberation Day, but time will tell, obviously, when a event is as telegraphed or as, kind of obvious as what we would expect to see coming out of something like a massive tariff massive pre-planned tariff announcement. Certainly that would have, I think, a lot of traders expecting for a pretty big sell-off as a byproduct of whatever does get announced tomorrow. But typically when these moves are that obvious and that telegraphed, rarely do we see them play out as easily as it seems they might. So just because that seems like the obvious trade going into whatever we have coming tomorrow does not necessarily mean that that's what we will get. So as always, I recommend an abundance of caution, given sort of, again, the overall uncertainty in the markets. For all we know, Liberation Day could be we're liberating the conversation from ever discussing tariffs again, and we're going to back off of all that. It was just a negotiating tactic, and so let's get back to being good members and stewards of the global economy. There's certainly a potential for a bait and switch type scenario like that to take place. I find it highly unlikely, but you just never know these days, right? What's up, Chris? What's up, K Money? Good to see you. Good morning, Vietnam. Good morning to you as well. Good morning to those watching on YouTube. All right, so let's get into this. Let's talk a little bit about what we are seeing here in the markets. We're going to do some trade plan recaps, as we always do, and then of course we will get to some new trade plan requests that we will do live here on the stream this morning before we wrap things up for the day. So if you have any tickers that you want me to take a look at during the stream this morning, or if you have any questions that you want me to address as we're making our way through everything here this morning, please feel free to go ahead and start dropping those in the chats, whether that be in the Xtrades Discord or over on the YouTube side of things. Again, please feel free to start dropping those ticker requests and questions in the chats. I will do my best to address all of them before we wrap up this morning, time permitting, of course. So what are we seeing here on S&P futures as far as technicals go? We did see a nice push to the upside yesterday. Looked like a double bottom pattern building up off of this 55.61 level that we've talked about several times on past live streams as kind of being a key level for the markets to hold. Otherwise, we open up, I think, potential room to the downside. And while there are some supports below here, certainly going as low as 53.07 would not be totally out of the question if we do break below 55.61. One thing I did notice last night when I was having a hard time falling asleep is it did look like, and I marked this up on a different chart, it does, I should say, look like we've got, it could be on a higher time frame, a pretty decent downtrend building up here. It looked okay on that hourly. Actually, sorry, let me take a look at this 2-hour chart. I think that's what I really want to look at. It did look okay just kind of based on how I was setting up these drawings last night. I think I had it kind of running that way. Not totally confirmed, but we do have some pretty strong resistance here from an NTS standpoint, both on the 2-hour and the 1-hour chart, both kind of showing that very tight area of selling pressure. We ran right up to that key. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, big yawn. Like I said, did not get much sleep last night for whatever reason, so I'm going to continue to chug this coffee in the hopes that that will be the remedy to the sleepies that I have this morning. But anyway, kind of an ugly potential downtrend overhead in addition to some of the bearishness that we're seeing here on Neptune. I did mention this key selling point opportunity to get in for shorts going into the close yesterday. That was a really nice rejection. So I gave folks a heads up on that one. Hopefully you all took advantage of that. If you did, we're still down about, almost 30 points off of that rejection there on ES. So hopefully you all caught that and took action on it. But nonetheless, if you did not, a couple of things I do want to say about that push to the upside yesterday, though I did mention this in the Xtrades Discord yesterday. And something that, again, I kind of have a lot of stuff going on away from the markets, at least until the end of May. So, a little leniency, if you don't mind, if I'm not as on top of my game as I normally am or as I'd like to be. But I personally did lose sight of the fact that yesterday was end of month and end of quarter. Overall, the markets have had a pretty significant pullback in the first quarter of this year. So not surprised at all to have seen some profit taking and some repositioning going on with yesterday's price action, especially with this Liberation Day coming up tomorrow. So again, not too surprised to see kind of a big upside move, but it stopped short of really flipping anything truly bullish in my opinion. That being said, we've got a large area of potential chop and volatility here between 57.40 and 55.61. So really for me, I'm waiting for one of those levels to give way before I think the market does really pick a direction. Right now, I remain leaning toward this playing out to the downside. Again, that's just based on what I'm seeing here on the charts. A lot of things showing a bearish tilt to them. So trying to keep things as data driven and as data focused as we possibly can, despite all of the biases and potential want to sort of trade all of these catalysts floating around in the ether one way or the other. Again, let's remain data driven, data focused. Let's trade like robots, not like emotional humans, and generally that will benefit us well in the long run. So anyway, like I said, market overall still kind of in a consolidation range, key double bottom pattern holding up. But things are still very much leaning bearish in my personal opinion. So let's get to some trade plan recaps. Tesla with a gap up this morning. I happened to go take a look at some of the news coming out this morning pre-market. It sounds like, and I don't know if this is confirmed, but it sounds like Elon is going to be stepping down from Doge in May. So there is I would say a light at the end of the tunnel for Tesla investors who have been kind of holding through some seriously difficult and challenging conditions. I think much of that self-inflicted by Elon's involvement in U.S. politics and in U.S. government with his position in Doge. But it sounds like that is coming to an end. So Tesla responding positively to that information or to that news so far does have us gapped up over the stop loss average down, which did look like a good confirmed breakdown yesterday, but it did kind of slowly melt up after that. And with this gap up, certainly I think would recommend a stop loss if you are in downside on Tesla at this point. Do I think Tesla still has a lot of exposure and risk for downside? Absolutely. I think that this catalyst was just enough to kind of push things back to the upside that the continuation down does become questionable from a technical standpoint. But overall, Tesla does still look quite bearish. Let's zoom out real quick just so I can show you what I'm talking about. We still have these descending trend lines overhead that are going to cause a lot of issues. Things still looking pretty bearish here on the hourly. Really interesting test here of the 200 trying to break back over the 333 SMA. But if we see Tesla start to pull back, I don't think that crossover happens. We probably stop just shy or maybe have a very brief crossover before it moves and pivots back to... Oh boy, I told y'all. Sorry, extra coffee. Does look like it could potentially pull back here again, but overall kind of still in a non-decision area. A little bit of a catalyst kind of pushing things back to the upside, putting us back into that point of indecision. So certainly, again, not something where I would want to be holding puts in this volatile market, and certainly a market that can just move sideways with a lot of volatility and ultimately just theta burn you to death. So anyway, Tesla, so far downside confirmed entry for a stop out with that news this morning, but we'll see how this actually plays out. Doesn't necessarily put things back in bullish waters for Tesla just yet, but certainly I think positive news for Tesla stockholders for sure. Boeing, this one has continues to break down. Looks like we have a bit of a bear flag setting up. Did kind of rocket down there pre-market all the way down to the 333 SMA, very close to our PT1 for puts. Still hasn't given us a stop for puts. Ran back up, caught the very beginning of selling pressure there on NTS, and seems to be rejecting and pulling back with the rest of the market here this morning. So BA seeing some downside activity and opportunities opening up there. Chipotle, this is another one from member selected tickers over the weekend, and this one does look like it is trying to break down. We do have a downtrend overhead. We're still a bit far removed from that being very helpful for a downside potential scenario here, but certainly looking like a rejection of the put stop loss average down level. And I think if we do get another break below the put entry there at 49.30, we will see downside play out here on Chipotle. So that one is looking good for downside so far. Hood, this one broke down, back tested the put entry, and then went on to play out for all of our downside targets. So Hood, nice trade to the downside, running up against this confluence here with a 333 200 here on the hourly chart. Bearishness on NTS, rejecting that and pushing to the downside right now. So Hood still looking like it's got a lot of pressure on it. Might continue to get pushed down, but our downside plan from last week has already played out, so we're good to go on Hood. Same thing with Lulu. All downside targets hit post earnings report, never gave us a break to the upside, never really broke over that 333 SMA here on the hourly. So Lulu played out for all those downside targets and might push for some more here if the market does pull back this morning and throughout the day today. And then last but not least, Flowers Foods. I think this one was from Ryan Brown, who had kind of the inside scoop on this one being potentially bullish. Did give us a break to the upside, did hit a price target before pulling back. Might see a retest of the call entry of support here at 1626 before it tries to make another run to the upside. So Ryan, thank you for your insights and for your ticker request on this one. Much appreciated, of course. And so with that, let's get to some new trade plan requests this morning. That does it for all of our recaps. I saw Kumar in the mix with Coin and Chris asking for Apple. No, it's been a while since we've taken a look at Apple, Chris, so that would definitely be a good one to take a look at. So let's start off with Coin for our friend Kumar. Let's get to the right layout. I don't know why I picked that one. I know better. Let's go to the playbook. How about that? There we go. All right, and then let's get over to Coin and see what we've got going on over here. Let's hide this trade plan pilot for now. Not really going to be all that useful until the levels are plugged in. Lots of old drawings here on Coin, but it's been a while since I've looked at it too, so don't be surprised if we make some minor adjustments to this as we kind of analyze and figure out how we want to plan our trades for it. All right, Coin, what are you doing? Well, clearly you're doing a big old bear flag move to the downside, right? Bear flag, for those of you not familiar or having a hard time seeing it, there's your flag pole. There's your flag right there. Just needs to break to the downside to confirm. So still just a setup, not a confirmed entry yet as far as downside goes on coin. Interesting support caught there. That was, I think, a previous all-time high there at 161.52. That's generally what those levels mean when I flag them with that gold color there. Question is, where does downside really get interesting? Let's see. Up there around 173.76 pre-market. So this is a level that I was looking at as a potential entry with a potential first price target here. So what I'm seeing back through this stretch is kind of validating the setup that I was looking at a moment ago. Let's take a quick look at these potential stop loss average down levels though. Mm-hmm. 177.45. I wonder if that's maybe giving it a little too much room. I think we've got something hanging out right about here where we had this gap up pre-market. So the top of this gap, I think this is going to jive with some of these rejection levels I was looking at back through this stretch of price action. If that's the case, I do like that as a stop loss. Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. So I like this setup so far. Downside entry, stop loss. So far, so good. So let's figure out the rest of our downside targets, and then we'll start taking a look at the upside. Taking a look at the upside, I should say. Obviously, if we're going to spend time playing in these trades, we want to be ready to take action regardless of what direction it decides to go. Don't get too bias heavy. I think this weekly level could benefit from a slight adjustment to the downside here. And then third target for the downside, take it down to 149.80. Could certainly go lower than that, but I think that looks like a great spot to go ahead and finish taking profit on a downside trade for coin. So I like that all so far. Upside, where does upside get interesting? We got selling pressure on it up until we break over 182 and some change. Have an established level there around 183.08. Does it require that much patience, I guess, is the question. I think the answer is yes, but you know what? We've got a level back here that I think does make things interesting for upside. Let's see how this jives with the recent price action. See if this kind of gives me what I'm looking for. You know what? I think we're going to give it just a little bit more room. I also will say very openly, I think this might still be a premature entry given what we're seeing here on NTS. So keep that all in mind, right? Start small, I would say, on this upside potential setup on coin is kind of how I would adjust to the plan for that. There still is a very little bit of a gap to finish filling to the upside 200 SMA hanging out right about there. So I like that as a first price target. Second target, where you at? Yeah, definitely would want to have, I don't have a level here yet, but we're going to add one right there at 193.32. Also stacks up with the 333 right there, so I do like that confluence. Third price target, very close to this 199.66 level. I may have this a little bit high. It's probably sitting more like right here at 198.79. I do like that though as a third target. All right, that gives us our levels we need. So let's set up our trade plan indicator here. Looking for a break over 180.57, 187.74, 193.32, and 198.79 with a stop loss 174.64 entry to the downside, 169.02, 161.52. Get out of here. Windows alerts popping up in front of my chart. 156.36 and 149.80. Shared stop loss at 174.64. So this is what the trade plan looks like. That looks pretty solid. So let's go ahead, drop this. What's up, Ryan? Good to see you. Good morning. I hope you caught my shout out to you there on Flowers Foods. What's up, Virgo Freddy? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. All right, so here is our coin live stream plan. Post that there and there. And let's post it in the elite chat as well. Actually, you know what? I'm going to post this in the watch list. I'm going to start doing all my plans in the watch list. I feel like I'm bouncing back and forth, and it's probably making it confusing. So let's do that. Coin live stream plan. Let's grab our message link. Let's drop that here. Boom. Let's set our alerts. We'll give it a week. Oh, whoops, that's May. I thought that looked weird. Huh? What? May 2025. Open-ended alert. What? Why is this not letting me? Hang on. Oh, duh, because it's April. God, I told y'all, I'm so brain fried right now. It's not even funny. All right, April 8th. There we go. Actually, let's just do coin Tuesday live stream 4/1. Hopefully no April Fools here. All right. Cool. Wait a second. Did I remember to put my message link in there? Sorry, my bad. Copy message link. Let me make sure I did that. Otherwise, these alerts don't become all that helpful. Let's try this again. There we go. And let's lock this in to an indicator template so we'll have it to refer back to. Tuesday live stream plan 1, save. All right, so what are we looking for here on coin? We are looking for a break back down below 169.02. That should bring us price targets at 161.52, 156.36, and 149.80, with a stop loss average down at 174.64. To the upside, we're looking for a break above 180.57. That should bring us upside targets at 187.74. 193.32 and 198.79, with a shared stop loss average down with the upside trade plan there at 174.64. That is your coin live stream. Let's go. All right, so let's get to our next plan. I've got some probably a delivery. Hey, chill. Dog nuts because somebody's at the door. Hey. All right, let's let him work out whatever he's barking at while my wife answers the front door. All right, so Apple live stream plan. Let's get to it. Let's see what drawings we have available to work with. I think we did just revamp our Apple levels pretty recently. So taking a look at these. All right, let's see. All right. Sorry, got a little sidetracked there into my own thoughts on these Apple levels. All right, so Apple looks good if we do get another breakdown below 215.02 in my opinion. First target at 209.65. I think we could definitely stop loss this at 218.71. Now the question is, where do we go below 209.65? We're going to get some answers right through here, I think. All right, so yeah, 206.31 I like as another downside target based on this hourly chart. This looks like an interesting level at 201.22, but just because it's interesting doesn't mean it's one that we, or doesn't mean it's the right level for this third price target. I'm seeing it could go a little lower, but just worried that maybe we're getting greedy, but I also think that we don't have any price data to use from before. Yeah, no, we don't. Okay, so not much to work with on that price history here. This is an interesting little bounce. I wonder if, well, it could be in two spots actually. Let's check both these out real quick. Curious about both of these, but we might need to break into these candles a little, break them up a little bit more, get a little bit more granular with our price analysis. 202.49, interesting move back there. Kind of thinking, hang on, that's where I got messed up. There we go. Yeah, let's go with that 202.49 between these two. I'm splitting hairs a little bit here on which of these levels I like better. But I think 202.49 should be good to go for a third price target for the downside. So then, where does upside become interesting? It's the next question. 226. Or, hang on, let me go back to my hourly chart here. Yeah, I could see an opportunity here over 222.19 actually. It might be a quick one, so make sure to take profits early on this, like PT1. Take profits early and often, aggressively, whatever you want to call it. Share a stop loss with that downside trade plan. Small adjustment to this first price target level down to 225.68. Second target definitely sitting right about here at 229.16. Could really be either of these two levels, but again, if I'm kind of debating between two levels, I'm going to shoot one level more conservative, or I'm going to go with the more conservative of the two levels. That's probably a better way to say that. Third price target, I think there's a shot at 233.37 here. All right, so you know what I should have done before I started doing this was clean up all these other levels, but that's okay. Not much to deal with there, so I think we'll get through that fairly quickly. All right, let me get back to the morning live stream here. Get over to the chats. Ryan, glad you heard your shout out. Sorry, that's what I was trying to say. All right, so let's get our levels plugged in here. 222.19 upside break. Targets at 225.68, 229. Whoops. 16 and 233.37 with a stop loss average down at 218.71. Put entry 215.02 with targets at 209.65, 206.31, and 202.49. Shared stop loss at 218.71. So this is what the trade plan looks like. Let's hide those drawings real quick. Can tighten this Y offset up a little bit more. That's pretty good. Okay, cool. So here it comes. And there, and also in the options watch lists. Let me grab my message link, plug that in here. And now we can set our alerts. Tuesday, whoops, April Fools. All right, so let's talk through this Apple live stream plan that we have here. We're looking for a break over 222.19. That should give us targets at 225.68, 229.16, and 233.37 with a stop loss average down at 218.71, giving us a dead on one-to-one risk reward to the upside. Downside, we're looking for a break below 215.02. That should give us targets at 209.65, 206.31, and 202.49. Shared stop loss average down with the upside trade plan there at 218.71. Those are your Apple upside and downside trade plans for my homie Chris. Generally speaking, when Chris asks for a ticker to be for a plan on a specific ticker, we find great profits and great setups when our powers combine. So let's see. Yeah, man, kind of quiet on the ticker request this morning. Well, Chris, you get two this morning because we've got time for it. RKLB, is that Rocket Lab? RKLB. Yeah, well, I remembered the name. Let's see. This is not one. I know the name. I don't think I've ever done a chart analysis or traded Rocket Lab. Okay, well, first time for everything, right? So, ooh, Rocket Lab. Really Rocket Lab to the upside here pretty recently. Nice pullback, hold at prior resistance. So this could be, Chris could be onto something per usual. This could wind up being an interesting level, but not a weekly level. This level probably is sitting just a little bit lower down. Oops, come here. Right about here. Oh, Air Force contract. Okay, that's good to know. Selling is that's often the case, and it does look like a big old bear flag. I mean, we were just talking about these, you know, chart patterns a little bit earlier. That is a pretty classic bear flag setup right there. But we'll see. Doesn't mean it plays out to the downside. Just gives it a lean to the downside, not so much a guarantee, right? All right. These weekly levels look pretty good. At least as far as I think anything we're going to need near term. Oops. Something sitting right there. And here. There. And yeah, there, that looks... All those levels look interesting from a daily standpoint. Let's take a look back here at what we can find for support and resistance using a little time machine. Let's go back in time, see what this PA did last time Rocket Lab made moves through these levels. All right. So let's see. Let's get over to this hourly chart. Let's fill in the blanks. Let's get our indicators on. We'll go from here. I think we've got a pretty good foundation to work from at this point. Actually, I want to hide these indicators just for another minute. All right, a little bit of a downtrend, lower highs led to this move down, but now we've kind of flattened that out as resistance. Definitely like this 1922 as a potential stop loss for an upside trade plan if we look to take a shot at things over 2046, which is kind of how I'm leaning on this right now. Over that, somewhere up in this 2170 to 2250 range. I think I could have this daily level just a little bit high. I could certainly make a case for it living right there. I said Air Force, Space Force. I didn't know we were keeping those guys around. They made like a sitcom about the Space Force, didn't they? What do they do? Where's Doge on that one? Yeah, I think we got a second price target up here around 23.45. Third target. big question mark here, but I'm kind of leaning toward this 24.74. The more I look at this chart, the more I like that. Yeah, I would think so. I mean, there will be a little bit of a quid pro quo, as as they say in the world of politics, I'm sure, for all of the very generous campaign financing liquidity that was provided. All right. Do like that downside entry there at 1744. Do like we can make a small adjustment to this 1842 stop loss. I do like a first target down here at 1624. Then we really get into big picture levels, I think. Mostly, although let's take a look at this little spot right here on the 30-minute. Might not provide a massive amount of insight, but yeah, I think there's potential earlier support slash get your money out of the trade exit there at 1464. And then I think we potentially complete a downside move if we get as low as 1288. All right, so this could be another one, or not another one. This could be a good one to go after with shares, especially for the upside. I don't know. Chris, do you happen to know off the top of your head, is this shortable? Can shares be shorted? If so, great setup to play this one either direction with shares, in my opinion, just because of the price point for folks maybe working with smaller accounts. Probably yes, though. Yeah, I would be surprised if it wasn't shortable. It's got good volume. It's been around for a little bit. It also seems like a name that people would want to short, so I'd be surprised if it wasn't open for shorting, but could be wrong. Screwed something up there. Put entry 1744. God, I do that sometimes. That's old habit. Looking at that 1842 level, that comes from doing the SPY plans. 1624, 1464, and 1288. Now we want 1824. Definitely going to need to make some adjustments to this y-axis. Not a shared stop loss. All right, let's hide those extra drawings that we don't need. That looks good. So let's get this chart posted. Another trade plan in the books. Whoops. Golly, what am I doing? Remove. RKLB live stream plan. Let's try this again. Helps if I use the right ticker. I think I did Rocket Mortgage, not Rocket Lab. All right. So, whoops, whoa, how did I screw that up? Oh well, whatever. It's fixed. Let me grab this message link. Let's get this over into our trade plan pilot. Let's set our alerts. Come on. There we go. Cool, that looks good. So, what are we looking for here on Rocket Lab? We are looking for a break above 2046. That should bring price targets at 22, 27, 23.40, and 24.74 with a stop loss average down at 19.22. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 17.44. That should give us targets at 16.24, 14.64, and 12.88 with a stop loss average down at 18.24. Those are your Rocket Lab upside and downside trade plans. This is your Xtrades FOMO live stream for April Fool's Day, Tuesday, April the 1st. Thank you all so much for joining me. All that I know is everybody who's on this stream this morning will not be April fooled by the market today. You guys are going to know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. So, I want to thank you all for spending some time with me this morning. As always, we will be back this Thursday, at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So until then, this is JT signing off with your Xtrades FOMO live stream motto: plan your trades, trade your plans. Go out there and get some green. Keep those wins big, keep those losses small. I will see you all in the chats, and I will see you back here Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, take care. Talk to you all soon. Go out there. Make that money.